Firehouse Dog is a 2007 film starring Josh Hutcherson about a boy and his dog and a firehouse. And an arsonist. And the dog's manager. And the boy's dad and his dead uncle. And his dad's co-workers and corruption? Firehouse Dog is a film about many, many things, but it manages to cram it all into an hour and 50-minute runtime, so there's that. We begin on a film set where unspecified movie exec Liz confronts manager Trey Falcon about his client's lateness to the last skydiving shot of their film. We enter the trailer and find out that the client is a dog named Rex with 3 X's. The dog is not a porn star. I just wanted to make that clear, not a porn star. Not that that needs to be said, but the writers of this movie have to know the implications of 3 X's, right? Claire? Mike? Anyway, Rex is refusing to go to set because a crew member's black and white jacket reminded him too much of his ex-girlfriend Lola, a Dalmatian with braids. Unexplained. After a little convincing, Rex gets on the plane for the stunt, but an accident leads to him falling out prematurely without his parachute. But luckily, he falls into a tomato truck and survives. Meanwhile, Shane Fahey and his friends are talking about how Shane was able to stay up all night playing video games since his fire captain dad was on a 24-hour shift at the fireman's store. But when his friends remind him about a test that they have that he forgot to study for, Shane ditches school in favor of angsty pop punk and longboarding. On his way back to his house, he runs into Terrence and Lionel, 2 of his father's crew members. They're in the fire engine patrolling? Looking around for fires to fight? I honestly have no idea. But Shane tricks them into thinking that it's Malcolm X's birthday and manages to get away. Meanwhile, Rex is in a nearby alley where he runs into a sadistic dog catcher, which is a trope that you find in a lot of movies, especially in this era. Even though it doesn't really seem rooted in reality, if you hate dogs, wouldn't a job where you have to interact with dozens every day be a no-no? Anyway, Rex narrowly escapes the creepy dog catcher who is never seen again. What seems like an at least secondary antagonist is completely abandoned 30 seconds after he's introduced. Lionel and Terrence realize that Shane lied about Malcolm X, and Shane, in evading them, runs directly into Rex, who's evading the dog catcher. Rex runs off to an abandoned building to catch some Z's, and the fall allows the firemen to catch up to Shane and take the boy to the fire station to confront his father. The fire station in question is the dog patch. I like the subtlety, guys. The dog patch is home to Engine 55, as well as Joe, Pep, and Connor Fahey, Shane's father and newly appointed captain after the death of his brother, Mark, during a call. Connor punishes Shane, taking away his—
No PSP.
What?
No PlayStation.
Come on, Dad, don't do this to me.
No iPod.
I like the brand loyalty, Shane. He's also shown later using a MacBook, so extra credit on that. Meanwhile, back at the abandoned building, an unseen figure leaves a kerosene-soaked device with a watch on it and a pile of flammable material and flees. Remember the watch, it comes back later. The building catches and all fire units are called to the scene, the dog patch being the last to get there. This is only the latest in a series of late arrivals. They are reprimanded by Greenpoint, headed by Connor's friend, Jesse. They're the sort of top-tier firehouse in the area. See, the dog patch is sort of a ragtag firehouse. Their fire engine is broken down, they don't have a mascot, and Connor really hasn't stepped up to the role of captain since his brother's death. They're sort of the loser table, except the table is in charge of saving people from being burned to death. Like, does that make sense? Would you not, go to City Hall and complain if you found out that you were in the district of the firehouse with the reputation of we're the worst at putting out fires? Whatever. Anyway, the dog patch gets there and notices Rex barking on the roof. Connor goes up on the ladder to save him, and a surge causes Rex to jump off, almost killing Connor. They bring Rex back to the firehouse where a guy named Zach, no last name given, is waiting for them. They offer him dinner, but when he finds out that Joe's cooking, he declines. Zach's the city manager and a former firefighter, and he's come to talk to Connor about how the dog patch may be shutting down soon due to lack of funds. This scene is also where we learn that Connor is running an investigation to find out if a string of fires around the area were arson, including the one that killed his brother. Rex takes a dump in Joe's stew. Seriously? Since Connor said that Rex was Shane's responsibility, Shane takes him home to clean him up and make posters. But since Rex is used to the high life, the Fahey house is not up to his standards. When Shane finally wrangles him and cleans him up, Rex starts cleaning Shane's room. This makes Shane angry. This makes Shane angry? What? Getting a stray dog off the streets who suddenly starts cleaning your room? That's the dream! That's the fucking dream! This is the most unrealistic thing about this movie so far. Ragtag Firehouse, I can deal with that. Surviving a botched skydive by landing in a tomato truck? Perfectly reasonable. But a boy angry about a dog cleaning his room for him? Unacceptable. This is ridiculous. Back at the firehouse, Rex sees a news story about the search for him being called off. No one notices. While Shane is putting up flyers, he sees Rex do some skateboard tricks, and this tips him off that Rex isn't normal. I guess in this universe, housekeeping is something all strays do. At the fire department picnic, emceed by former quarterback Corbin Sellers, Greenpoint's mascot Sparky finishes the obstacle course in 44 seconds. This beats out Connor's dead brother's dog, Blue, for the course record. The last obstacle is a ring of fire, which we presume was signed off on by the fire department, on a grass field surrounded by wooden obstacles. Alright, whatever, moving on. Shane enters Rex, who looks to take back the record by a long shot, but when he sees the Dalmatian Sparky, it reminds him of his lost love, Lola. He doesn't finish, and people don't realize it was because of Sparky.
Got some news about your Firehouse Dog. He's afraid of fire.
Last place. What's perfect for you guys?
Way to go, losers.
Back at the Fahey household, Shane and Connor have a heart-to-heart. It's nice. They adopt a dog. Dog breaks wine. Dog breaks house. Hilarious. I'm speeding through here. A lot happens in this movie. Dog cleans room. Again, anomalous. A bean counter inspects dog patch to determine its value. There's a fire in a mine shaft and Dewey runs after the truck to the fire. Oh yeah, they've been calling Rex Dewey. His prop name tag for the skydiving thing said Dewey. At the fire, Dogpatch is late again, but Connor's the only one who notices Jessie's missing, so he goes into the fire after her. He can't find her, but Dewey runs into the fire after him. When Shane arrives at the scene, the Dogpatch crew can't look at him, believing his dad and his dog to be dead. Dewey finds Jessie and helps Connor dig her out. They make it out of the mine before it collapses. Meanwhile, Trey and Liz are at Rex's funeral. Trey makes a heartfelt speech. He mentions his regrets about forcing Rex into the celebrity life. They bury Rex's hairpiece. It's raining, but it's revealed to be fake rain, and the whole thing has been orchestrated for TV. This kind of highlights the tonal confusion of this film. You've got an arsonist on the loose who's killed before and almost kills a couple of main characters, intercut with a hairpiece funeral and dog poop chili. It makes sense that there was a multi-person writing team. Was Claire on dog fart duty, or was it Mike? After his heroism, Shane and Dewey make headlines. Dewey is now Engine 55's mascot. He gets Shane to study. Shane likes JJ. Dewey likes Sparky. He might have a type. Shane gets a B+ on his test, which is a nice parallel to his earlier test scene. Just as Dogpatch is about to close, Zach tells them that because of Dewey and Shane's publicity, they're staying open. Joe can cook now? He's making cannoli and lasagna? This serves no purpose and is shoehorned in harder than a simile in a movie review. Connor moves into his brother's old office. Shane finds his father's arsonist case files and digitizes them on his MacBook. Then there's this really nice heartfelt scene where Connor says that Shane shouldn't feel that it's his responsibility to help with the case, and Shane cries when he tells his father about the day that Mark died.
The day of the mill fire, I was at school. The trucks drove by. I ran back to the fire station as fast as I could. When I got there, nobody would look at me. I loved Uncle Mark. But when I found out it was him, I was happy. I was happy because it wasn't you.
This is a really emotional and touching scene. It really strengthens the relationship between the two characters and shows a lot of growth. Oh God. Claire. Mike. At a fire department gala honoring Engine 55, Corbin Sellers hosts again. Pep is hot now. This serves no purpose and is shoehorned in harder than a callback in a movie review. Shane and Dewey begin to demonstrate Dewey's tracking ability using Sellers' watch when Trey shows up and claims Rex. There's a very Harry and the Hendersons scene where Shane has to give Dewey away. But don't worry, there's still 35 minutes left in this movie. There's a fire on a garbage barge, so the crew is called away, but when Shane goes back inside, he notices that the watch Sellers gave him was the same one that the arsonist has been using. Shane overhears Sellers talking to someone about a conspiracy to burn down buildings in order to build a sports complex. Because he's a former quarterback, if you remember that one tiny throwaway line from 45 minutes ago. Meanwhile, Trey, Liz, and Rex go to a fancy new wave hotel where Trey goes back on his word about treating Rex like a normal dog. Liz confronts him, and his response is to reveal the dog whores he has waiting for Rex in the room. The implications of which I don't care to explore and will likely need years of therapy to erase from my mind. Anyway, Rex hears wait, before I move on. Is the movie implying that there's a business that's supplying the dog whores? Like some sort of dog bordello? And why does Trey know the number for this place? Is it in the yellow pages? Has he purchased this service for Rex in the past? And why are the dogs pastel colors? Even their faces. Were they sprayed down with paint? Mike? Claire? Anyone? Fuck. Anyway, Rex hears Engine 55 drive past the hotel, so he jumps down onto the awning after them. Shane gets back to Dogpatch, but he can't get through to Connor. He calls JJ, and they realize that the garbage barge doesn't fit Sellers' MO. They conclude that the fire was a distraction from the real target, the Dogpatch. As they realize this, the arsonist is setting a fire upstairs. Let's play a game. Who's the arsonist? I'll give you a hint. It's someone who has been introduced but whose character has served no concrete purpose thus far in the film. You got it? You come up with an answer? Oh, you guessed 95% of the characters in this movie? Fair point. It's Zach. It's Zach. Shane confronts Zach, but fire go boom, so Shane impale. Dewey's spidey sense goes off, so he runs back to the station. He jumps into the building, wakes up Shane, and traps Zach in a phone booth. The firefighters show up and Connor gets Shane out of the building. After Shane tells his father about the findings, Connor confronts Zach and Pep gets to punch him for some reason. I mean, he killed Connor's brother and almost killed his son. I feel like Connor deserved to be the one to punch him, but okay, Pep. I guess there was that one shot of you training with a heavy bag at the beginning of the movie, so I guess? Anyway. Afterwards, Dogpatch and Dewey get medals at a ceremony, where JJ asks out Shane and sets up her mom and Connor. Shane is saying goodbye to Dewey, and, surprise, Trey gives him to him. The Dogpatch, with its newfound publicity and acclaim, gets a bunch of new equipment and a new engine for the truck. And the film ends with the Dogpatch being called out to a fire. Which seems like a happy note until you think about it for literally 1 second. People and property are most likely being destroyed. And that's Firehouse Dog. It's a movie that's trying to be a goofy comedy at the same time as a crime thriller and a father and son, boy and his dog, Prince and the Pupper heartwarming story. It's clearly a movie made by committee, with each member having their own decent but separate ideas about where the story should head. The editors really had their work cut out for them to make a comprehensible narrative. But I have to say, there's a certain charm to its lack of cohesion. It's like the dog patch, a ragtag storyline. All of the different components have their own strengths and weaknesses coming together to form a rainbow. And it represents an era and a genre of film that holds a place close to my heart. Children's movies have always had an attitude of kids will like anything you put in front of them. The way that idea is sometimes taken is that you can put in as little effort as possible and still make money, but what this movie and others like it demonstrate is that that lack of a barrier to entry allows filmmakers to make out-of-the-box creative ideas that would normally get them kicked out of a pitch meeting. And I think that there's something beautiful about that. But hey, that's just my opinion.